You're probably wondering what happens when the planet Mercury goes into retrograde. It can mean a number of things, all right? You have miscommunications, mail not being delivered, delays, and also this review that happens when Mercury goes into retrograde. Now, we will have the retrograde in the sign of Aries up until the 27th, and then we'll have the sign of Pisces after that until I think April 12th. The date for this Mercury retrograde. What does this mean? All right, we're gonna get into that. First and foremost, I would like to welcome y'all to my channel. For those of you guys checking in for the first time, all right, welcome to my humble abode. My name is Rainy Storm, and if you come to transform, you've come to the right place. For those of y'all that's checking in again, and y'all been hearing what it is, what's up, I do have my readings open now that I'm feeling a little bit better. Also have courses as well. I am also working on Neptune and Aries, and that will be available sometime this week. Still trying to figure out what I want to do. We are going to be having live readings as well too, starting this week. I've been called to go live a little bit more, so if you're interested in just coming through, we have talks, chats. First of all, Mercury retrograde, all right? Mercury in Aries can be a little snippy, could be a little, fiery when it comes to its communication, but it's also very direct. It's very passionate. With Mercury in Aries, a little bit more hesitant to speak on your needs or speak all the way up when Mercury goes into retrograde. So if before Mercury retrograde came into play, maybe you were like snapping and going off, things like that, there's going to be a lot of internal things going on with the retrograde. More depleted when Mercury goes retrograde, because Aries also rules vitality and energy in the physical body. So there might be, just some review. You want to check to see where, Aries is playing out in your birth chart personally, like what house Aries rules if you don't have any placements in Aries. But for the most part, you'll probably just be turning physically inward. I would also say too, if you are not taking care of your body, this might be the time where you're starting to kind of review, what's been going on internally with your body. Aries also rules the head. So this can be in the brain. So this can be mental capacities that maybe you're like going over and reviewing. Am I taking care of myself? How do I feel personally, internally, my physical body? Now Pisces, Mercury retrograde, where Pisces already falls, it's a little bit more so in its detriment with Pisces energy here, because it's, like I said, how I describe Mercury and Pisces is kind of like reading hieroglyphics on a pyramid. This is where the passive aggressiveness kind of comes into play. You feel like you want to say something, but you don't want to say something. This is like, I feel like a review of like people pleasing tendencies. There's this unlimited amount of energy that Pisces likes to give and tends to give when it comes to people and situations, spaces and places. And so you might just be going through a place, my cats are here, y'all. You might be going through a place of review of like maybe how much you are giving, especially as we go through these eclipses, eclipse season with Virgo and Pisces, the energy of service on this axis here. So you could be like, okay, how much am I giving and how much am I receiving? And it's not to say that this is on like a transactional level. This is more energetically. You also might be reconnecting with maybe some spiritual beliefs or spiritual practices at this time that maybe fall short. I could say religious as well too, but I would say spiritual to me is not just like lighting a candle, burning some incense. It's deeper than that. This is your practice. It's what you're practicing every single day. It's what you're doing on a daily basis. That is your religion. That is your spirituality. What are you connecting to? What are you listening to? Pisces definitely has to do with music. It has to do with creativity. Maybe you're going back into connecting with some type of creative endeavor that you used to do or used to be a part of. I will also say, because Pisces rules over the feet, maybe you need to, take some time to get those feet, your foot massager. Take some time to tend to the feet, doing like a reset on the feet, and it's deeper than just the feet. It's really, the feet are the gateway to the soul. You know what I'm saying? So this could be that time to, like, you know, as we're talking about the physical body with Mercury and Aries, and then it goes into Pisces, you know, this could be from head to toe, right? Aries being the head, Pisces being the feet. You know, just doing like a full reevaluation of yourself, your body, the ways in which you're communicating with not only yourself and your thoughts, but also how you're communicating outwardly with other people. If you can't have the time and space fully to yourself, just you need to find some, like, or carve out some time or make some time to just have like your sacred you time so you can connect with yourself. Okay, so Aries rising, this Mercury retrograde is going to be going through your first house of self. Your physical body, you know, how you are presenting yourself out to the world, and also the lessons that you're learning here. The 12th house, when it goes back into Pisces, is the subconscious mind, your mental state, your dream world, your internal world, your past lives. This also has to do with, you know, places where you find solitude, and also places where you retreat, isolation, and addictions. Okay. And Mercury, since we're talking about Mercury retrograde in itself, Mercury rules over Gemini and Virgo. So we also look to those houses to see what else can be kind of giving more to the conversation. All right. And so Mercury rules your 3rd house, and it also rules your 6th house. Gemini being 3rd house, Virgo being the 7th house. I mean, the 6th house, I'm sorry. And so I feel like you could definitely be exploring some themes of the past. This could be like past lives, you know, maybe you, you know, have a past life regression, or thinking about getting a past life regression of some sort. But if it's not that deep, which it could be, you know what I'm saying? There could be stuff coming up about things that have happened and occurred. It could be a past life, but also just things that have occurred in the past. You know, this could be people coming back, like, you know, maybe family members coming back, uncles, sisters, brothers, cousins, because 3rd house rules that. Maybe you're visiting or returning to a space, or taking a short, or traveling to a place that you might have been before, because Mercury has to also do with travel as well. And then maybe this is just you reviewing your physical body, like the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Are they supporting your overall health and wellness? You know, or are they kind of a little bit detrimental to your overall health and wellness and things like that? You know, there could be a review of maybe, for example, you're working at a space, and whatever space that you are working at, maybe it's just causing a little bit more stress on your physical body and things. And this is just an example of something that can be happening with you. But maybe it's causing a little bit more strain on your physical body and things, and you like, is this something that I want to keep doing? Like, I don't know if I want to be up in here stressed out. Don't nobody want to be stressed out, but you probably like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue to do this because it's affecting my mental health. So you could be changing some things around in your day-to-day, you know, lifestyle and routines that allow you to move a little bit more freely, and also just make you feel more grounded in your physical body, and physical and mental as well, too. So that's what you could be seeing for Aries rising. Taurus rising, the Mercury retrograde will be transiting through your 12th house and also your 11th house. Your 12th house has to do with your subconscious mind. This is where Aries will be transiting. Your subconscious, you know, things that you've buried deep beneath the I'm thinking of a basement right now, or an attic. The things that you buried in the attic, right? Your mental capacities, your psychological capacities, past life things, dreams also could come up too, addictions, and it's a place where you might feel isolated as well too, just to name a few for the 12th house. The 11th house is the Aquarius house, 12th house being Pisces house, 11th being the Aquarius house, of long-term goals, friendship connections, organizations that you're connected to, groups and associations as well, hopes, dreams, wishes, all those things that kind of support your life mission, goal, and purpose. So these things can be going up to review, especially when it comes to your own personal mental health. You know, you're going to have to kind of do a weighing of the scales when it comes to you and yourself. There could be important relationships under review as well too, conversations that need to be had in relationships. Very, very important conversations that need to happen within relationships that you maybe have been put on the back burner for a while. But those things could be happening here. You can also see matters of your personal, because your Mercury is connected to your second house, which is your resources, which is the Taurus house of like resources, value, whether it's physical value or it's personal value, and it also has to do with your finances. And then the fifth house has to do with, it's the Leo house of creativity, self-expression. This has to do with children, small pets. This also has to do with like gambling, risk-taking, you know, and it also could be like, you know, partying and, you know, romance and things. And so these things can be up for review in terms of how you are going to move forward in your, how you would like to move forward in your life vision and life mission and life purpose. Things can be, some things can be a little stressful at this time, or you just feel like maybe you're mentally exhausted at this time, especially with Mercury retrograding in the 12th house. You can feel a little, you know, deprived energetically, and you need some type of reset. So when Mercury goes into Pisces and starts to transit there, you will start to see, which is the better half of the last week of March into April, you'll start to reevaluate how you want to move forward in your plans in terms of just how you kind of want to move forward in the future and things. If you're connected to any organizations or you have any friendships and things that you're connected to that aren't necessarily in alignment with your overall personal values or just physicality, those are some things that are probably either going to be forcefully let go of, or you're going to actually make the decision to leave so you can take better care of yourself. You know, I know sometimes, especially with Taurus, and this is something that you're learning, especially being a Taurus rising, change can be very uncomfortable, but sometimes it's often needed so you can be realigned in the spaces and places that you're actually meant to be in, with the people that you're meant to be in those spaces with as well too, Taurus. For Gemini rising, this Mercury retrograde is going to be occurring in your 11th house and your 10th house. I'm sorry, yes, it's going to be occurring in your 11th house and 10th house. Mercury, which rules over Virgo and Gemini, these houses that are going to be activated as well is your first and your fourth house, where Gemini and Virgo sit for you. So this to me definitely feels like a reconstruction in the friendship department. And this could be friendships, but it could also be like family ships. And I mean like people who might not be blood related family, but they're also like your tribe and things like that. You could be kind of doing like a review of the people that you've been around or the people that you've kept around in the past. I'm not saying that you are going to completely break off a relationship, but it could be. You could also be moving homes at this time, you know, because Mercury has to do with travel as well, not just communication, but it can be with travel. So maybe you're reviewing, and if you're not necessarily moving at this time, you could be reviewing to get ready to move to another place, or there's something undergoing in the home space or home area that needs to be cleared away. You know, you could be giving away things in the home. You could be rearranging the home as well too. You could be reorganizing the room in your space and things like that. Like just moving energy and things around in the home. Now, when it has to do with the 11th house and the 10th house, this can definitely be like your overall goals and things that you want to do in this lifetime. I would just say don't feel like you have to spread yourself too thin with this energy coming in. You know, if you feel like you got way too much on your plate, this is a great time in the month of March to kind of knock some things off your plate rearrange some things, so you don't feel like scattered and all over the place. You know, you could be also asking yourself and really reviewing, like, what is my life purpose? Like, what are some of the things that I want to really do in life? And notice how I said the things, right? Not to say, because Gemini rising, you meant to be a wanderer. You meant to be a curious Nancy. Okay, so it's okay for you to do multiple things. It's okay for you to kind of move around and try things, and, you know, see what you like and see what you don't like. Like, so be open, or allow yourself to be open to kind of moving around and doing things that, you know, tickle your fancy, Gemini rising. Life calling, we said self-preservation. That's another thing. You could just be feeling a little bit more inward. So for Cancer rising, you will be having Mercury retrograde transiting from your 10th house of Aries, and then it'll go back into the 9th house in the better half of March, into the 9th house. Okay, 10th house is your career. This has to do with your purpose, life goals. It's the top of the chart. So it's your overall life mission and life purpose. And then the 9th house, 10th house is the Capricorn house, public standing, public figure, like the public side of your life, and then, or what you're known for, as well as in the 10th house too. 9th house has to do with, you know, higher education. It's the Sagittarius house of expansion. It has to do with teaching, trading, foreign trade, foreign travel, you know, traveling to foreign places. And it can be foreign, like outside the US, but it also can be just like a place that you've never been before. This has to do with higher education, so it's studying. Language also has to do with these things, and also religion and belief can also fall into this energy here. So Cancer rising, you could be looking over your life mission and life purpose. You know, you could be feeling like, well, shit, maybe I thought that this is something that I wanted to do, but maybe either I'm gonna tweak what it is that I got going on, or my mission or vision or purpose, or I might end up just completely switching things around altogether. You know, your belief systems are changing. The things that you used to believe in then, and what you believe in now, going back and also seeing how your childhood or things in your upbringing have inspired the ways in which you think and feel about certain things. I'm sorry, y'all. The mosquitoes, the sun is going down and the mosquitoes are out. Hold on. Gotta put my legs up. I'm gonna be in the fan because they will tear me up. Also too, Mercury rules your 3rd house and your 12th house. This is where Gemini and Virgo sit. And so with that, your communication style is also going to be changing. Maybe you're returning back to like some type of writing project, or you're getting back into, you know, doing some writing, and or some type of form of creative expression, even if it's not quote unquote, or you wouldn't consider this creative expression, some type of form of expression that allows you to I'm just seeing somebody definitely writing in a journal, or getting their journal back out if it was dusted for a minute. 3rd house also has to do with relatives. It has to do with like uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, things like that. So there could be people from the past also too returning that you have to have conversations, or are going to be having conversations with at this time. If you're thinking about moving also too out of the neighborhood that you're in at this time, you could be finalizing, because Mercury also has to do with like contractual agreements. So you could be finalizing some paperwork, or finalizing some paperwork and through conversations as well, that kind of gets you to the next step or the next level. Also too, I would say pay attention to your dreams, because Mercury does rule that 12th house. So your dreams could be also going through there just could be some messages, some hidden messages in dreams. And also too, I would say this, and I'm getting this right now as I'm talking, if there's something that you've had a question about, it's something that you in regards specifically to family, something that has to do with like family, something that has to do with like maybe something that was hidden that you never knew but always wanted to know, something like that. Before you go to sleep and before you dream, ask the universe to show you whatever it is, whatever you are inquiring about. Like, this is heavy on my heart to say. Whatever it is that you've been thinking about, whatever it is that you had a question about, ask the universe to ask you to reveal it to you, or ask the universe to reveal it to you and see what comes up. And I'm telling you, baby, sleep with that journal beside you, because your dreams could feel very active at this time, okay? So just putting that out there as if you feel it. Leo rising, we have the Mercury retrograde going from your 9th house to your 10th house. 9th house, the Sagittarius house, being long distance travel, foreign trade, you know, higher education, you know, traveling to foreign places, learning a new language, all those things. And then you have the 8th house, which is the Scorpio house, and this has to do with deep-seated transformation, other people's money, contractual agreements, intimacy, sexuality, and contractual agreements as well. 7th house has to do with contractual agreements, but 8th house also can do with those things too, but it usually has to do with other people's finances, maybe coming to you or coming out. So, and also taxes as well here too. And this is not just physical tax, but like things that are actually taxing, you know, or feeling like they're taxing you. All right. So and also Mercury rules over Virgo, and I'm sorry. Mercury also rules over your 11th house, and it rules over your 2nd house, the Gemini and Virgo energy. 11th house being your connections to people, friendships, organizations, and also your life purpose. And then the 2nd house has to do with Aries, and it is your personal value, your physical value, and also things that you own as well too. It also has to do with your voice, you know, or what you're consuming as well here too, because it's the Taurus house. And so what you can see here with the Mercury retrograde, you can really be seeing that the ways in which that you feel about yourself, the ways in which you look into yourself or resonate with yourself is affecting the things around you. The ways in which you honor your own personal value, how much you feel like that you're worth, is affecting the things that you're bringing in, and is affecting the things that you're attracting. So if you felt like you've had like a low self-worth or low self-value, you know, other areas in your life are also going to be affected in that, and it's going to show through not just the physical things, but also just like intimate and emotional connections that you have with other people. This could be coming up as well, and it could also be mirrored back to you, your sense of worth and value. So I would definitely kind of keep that in mind when we're going through this Mercury retrograde. You could be looking into how you want to expand. If you're thinking about, I don't know, learning a new skill, taking a class, if you're thinking about expanding on some type of knowledge, especially with this here, if you're thinking about maybe taking a trip as well, this could also be like a foreign trip. And it, like I said, foreign doesn't necessarily have to be overseas, even though it could be overseas. It could definitely be something that is just, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. It could definitely be something that is, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. Oh, foreign also can be a place that you've never been before, or a place that you've never visited before as well too. So maybe you're thinking about possibly after the Mercury retrograde is over, taking a trip or traveling somewhere here too. And if you're not just taking a trip, it could also be a move to a foreign place or a new place as well. So that's something that you can be going through. And then just with Venus going, not Venus, but also Mercury going through that 8th house, there could be some financial things that are coming up here. Maybe that is being returned to you. I mean, this is for some people, well, for some, you know, tax season. So there could be money being returned to you this month, or some type of resources returning to you this month. There could be just some financial changes and also like goals that you want to accomplish as well. It could do with finances, but it could be like, it could also be like different things and people that you're also connected to could be kind of going through, you know. This to me looks like, it feels like business, but a lot of it has to do with how much you believe and you think that you're worth when it comes to these things. So if there's any like contracts that you're about to sign, I would definitely wait until after the Mercury retrograde. If there's something new or an endeavor that you're getting into that's new, maybe dabble in it now and then see how you feel when we get out of the Mercury retrograde, and see just kind of how you want to move forward with that. So, okay, Virgo rising, we have the Mercury retrograde in Aries going through your 8th house of other people's money. This has to do with other people's money. This has to do with resources, your values as far as like intimacy and sexuality. This has to do with your personal, internal, deep emotions and dark secrets that you hold within you. This also has to do with your death. This can be with taxes. This can also be with inheritances. And it doesn't necessarily have to be you know, financial inheritances. This can be also gifts and things that were passed down to you from ancestral lineage as well here too. And then the 7th house, when it goes into Pisces, this can definitely be a review of your intimate relationships. This can also have to do with contracts, because 7th house has to do with either spiritual contractual agreements or even physical contractual agreements. So you can definitely see like a review of maybe a very important relationship, whether you are moving to the next level in a relationship, or maybe you have to squall it out with somebody. And it doesn't have to be, it can be romantic, because usually 7th house has to do with like deep committed romantic relationships, but this can also just be a very close intimate connection that you have with somebody that's kind of going under review. So this month you either go deep in that connection, or you're gonna cut it off for good. And this can also be somebody returning from the past, because we are talking about Mercury retrograde here. So it could be somebody returning from the past that wants to maybe get a little, you know, one-on-one time for review. You feel me? You know, let me know in the comments what's happening, because I'm kind of nosy at this moment. But anyway, Mercury rules over the 10th house, and it also rules over the 1st house, Virgo and Gemini. So the 10th house, the 1st house has to do with you. Whoa, wait a minute. Mercury, wait a minute. Yeah, the 1st house has to do with you, and then the 10th house has to do with the your public eye, like how you are in the public eye, you know, your life purpose, overall life purpose and mission, and also your career, you know. So there definitely could be some review of partnerships, how you kind of want to move forward and really step into your purpose. I feel like it's going to really start with either a conversation with a partner, a conversation with some type of either romantic connection or just an intimate connection with you that you have with someone. I feel like whatever connection or tie that you have personally to someone is going to be undergoing some change. And after that kind of either heightens or evolves or breaks away, then you'll be able to kind of do more like a self-focus, or knowing that you need a little bit more inward focused here. So that's what I see for you, Virgo rising. Libra rising, we have Mercury retrograde going through your 7th house and also through your 6th house. 7th house being the Libra house of romantic relationships, committed partnerships. Also has to do with contractual agreements, whether it's spiritual contractual agreements or physical contractual agreements. This also just has to do with your intimate connections in relationships, even if it's not romantic. People that you are close to, just relationships, one-on-one relationships. 6th house has to do with, it's the Virgo house of your health and wellness, the things that you're doing on a day-to-day. It also rules like employees. So if you have a at-home business or some type of entrepreneurial business, it's the people that you work with on a day-to-day basis. And just all the things that you're doing, you know, in your day-to-day activities and things. Now, Mercury, which rules over Virgo and Gemini, the houses that it rules over is the 9th and the 12th house. So, yeah, and intimate relationships, okay? Partnerships, especially with that, you know, Mercury and Venus is going to be transiting at this moment the 7th house. So you could feel like there are some relationships up for review that you're like, oh, I don't know, do I want to keep it? Do I want to like leave? I don't really know. I don't want to do. And to see if I do, if I want to move forward. I'm not really sure. Is what you can see here with this Mercury transiting here. You can also be when Mercury moves into Pisces, into the 6th house. Your physical, if you've been kind of maybe lacking when it comes to like your spiritual practice, or when it comes to like your spiritual gifts, and you've been kind of putting those things off to the side, or just some type of, you know, getting grounded in your spiritual practices, whatever that looks like for you, this is going to be asking you to do so. It's going to be asking you to get back into those routines of it. Or maybe if you're not necessarily, if you are maybe sort of grounded in a spiritual practice, maybe it's something that maybe it's a new gift that starts to come into play or show itself out of hiding at this time. Or maybe you're learning about something new spiritually, or metaphysically as well. I would definitely say if you're interested, but if you're in this channel, of course you are. If you're interested in some type of spiritual practice, or you've been thinking about maybe studying or reading about some type of metaphysical practice, I'm hearing something right now. I don't know why I'm hearing that. I'm hearing necromancy, but I don't know why I'm hearing necromancy. And then I'm hearing like the clairs, like clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, you know, the clairs. Maybe there's a clair ability that you have, but it's maybe dormant. That's what okay. Something like that here. Maybe if it's not necessarily something spiritually, maybe there's something that you are meant to teach. Maybe you've been a student enough. You've been a student enough. Now it's time to actually like physically step into the teaching aspect of it. I don't know who that's for, but I'm also hearing that as well too here. Daily routines is going to be a big focus here. Spiritually, okay, what you are doing in your day-to-day routine is going to be affecting the things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Scorpio rising, we have the Mercury retrograde transiting your 6th and 5th house. 6th house being the Virgo house of day-to-day routines. This has to do with your work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, wherever you're working. This has to do with your health and wellness and things. 5th house is the Leo house, and this has to do with creativity. This has to do with children or babies. This has to do with, you know, bigger animals and pets. This also has to just do with romantic relationships and partnerships. Now, Mercury, which rules over your 8th house and 11th house, Mercury being Gemini and Virgo. This rules your 8th house and your 11th house. 8th house being other people's money, death, sexuality, taxes, intimacy, inheritances, whether it's physical inheritances of money or it's physical inheritance of gifts. And 11th house being the Aquarius house of organizations that you're connected to. This has to do with friendships, and also your humanitarian pursuits as well, or things that you want to do in this lifetime. So, you know, you could be going and reassessing over your routines. You have Venus there, you know, also retrograde in there. So you could be going over like your health and wellness and routines that you're doing on a day-to-day. Like, okay, does this routine suit me? Is this like actually good for my health? or has it been something that's been damaging to my overall health and wellness? It's going to be a very clear review because, like I said, we are in eclipse season, so it can feel like these things are having to be cut. You know, fifth house also can rule like, you know, addictions and, you know, things that can be taken a little too far. So this can also be something that's coming up for you too. Are you overindulging on some things? Or is it some things that you need to cut back on so you can reset your daily routines in a more healthy way? This can also be like, fifth house could also be like children. Or maybe if it's not necessarily a physical child, maybe you are exploring different modes of creativity at this time. You could be, especially with Mercury retrograde, you can be hearing back from ex-lover. You can be, or a project maybe that you used to be into or do or create as well too. Yeah, there's could be a couple of things happening with this here. Mercury rules over, like I said, the 8th house, so it could feel like you're going through an internal transformation at this time, and that is going to significantly impact that 11th house of like your hopes, dreams, goals, and wishes, and how exactly you want to move forward from a foundational place, the 6th house, that once your daily routines are reset and once you feel like, okay, let me try something different with my day-to-day routines. Let me commit to like a healthy routine that gets me feeling good, you know what I'm saying, and resets my body, then the other things in your life will start to look a little bit differently. I would say if you could commit to some type of health goal for the duration of this retrograde to kind of set a habit, and also if you have like a creative, you know, goal or something like that that you've really been meaning to do but you've been putting off, I would say set it and give yourself time to like, you know, go through, you know, the days, give yourself a period of time and keep doing that thing over and over and over again until it's like muscle memory and you just like are on it, you know what I mean? This is the purge, you know, Scorpio rising. So for Sag rising, we have Mercury retrograde going through your 5th house, which is the Leo house of creativity. This has to do with entrepreneurship. This has to do with your romantic partnerships and your creativity on all fronts, addictions or addictive behaviors as well. You can see here with Mercury retrograde, and we have the 4th house to move back into Pisces during the later half of the month. The 4th house has to do with the Cancerian house. It is the home, roots, family, wellness, or not wellness, but I mean, I guess it's a place of wealth, past lives, and your relationship to your mother and family. And so I would say this for Sagittarius. One, if there is, and also Mercury rules your 7th and 10th house, which has to do with your intimate connections and relationships and contractual agreements and also your public image. I would say if there has been like a creative endeavor or a project that maybe you have been putting off that's coming back to the forefront again, that maybe you're like, you know what, I was working on a mixtape and then all of a sudden I decided that, you know, I kind of put it to the side, but now I want to kind of get into it or do it again. I would say maybe take it out, you know, take it out, play with it a little bit, see if it's something that you want to, you know, pursue. If it is that, if it's a romantic relationship, because that could definitely also be coming up as well too. Maybe a conversation with like a romantic partner that you had in the past, that you're rehashing things with here with Sagittarius rising. You can also see some things coming up on the family and the home front. You might either be, because Mercury usually rules travel and also rules communication, so maybe either if it's not like your own physical home, there could be things coming up within the home from the surface. So like having like downloads, especially because Pisces there, having downloads. You could even be having some very intense dreams at this time. You could be seeing romantic relationships or ex-romantic relationships in your dreams at these times, because Pisces is very, very dreamy. If it has to do with substance abuse, okay, or some type of substance that's kind of gotten out of hand, a little overindulgent into things, You might want to scale that back. Okay, so that could be coming up as well too for this Mercury retrograde. You could just be kind of reviewing. It doesn't have to be those things, but it could definitely be something that is coming up for you. If you're thinking about moving anytime soon as well, because Mercury rules travel, maybe you're getting things together to like up and move. So you're clearing house at this time. You know, Pisces is the ending. Before we get into the new beginning, we're in the middle of a new year. Happy New Year, you know what I'm saying? And so you could be kind of, you know, going over some things and be like, you know what, actually, I'm a get rid of this or kind of switch this thing out so I can kind of make room for these other things. You can see that here as well too. Happy spring cleaning, Sagittarius rising. Capricorn rising. You have the Mercury retrograde going from your 4th house into your 3rd house. Mercury rules over Gemini and Virgo, and those that energy rules your 6th house and your 9th house. So as far as Aries, Mercury retrograde is going to be moving through that 4th house of home, family. This has to do with your roots, your relationship to your mother, and also past lives. 3rd house, which is where Pisces, Mercury and Pisces retrograde will be transiting, is communication, travel, short distance travel. This has to do with like your relatives, uncles, sisters, brothers, cousins. This has to do with any form of communication, writing, speaking, traveling, and all those things here too. You definitely are going to be clearing house. There's going to be some really, whether it's roommates or it's like friendships or it's family ships, you know what I'm saying? Blood related family or not, you could be having some conversations that are going to change the course of your living situation. This could, you know, maybe there's some things in the day-to-day life that's not necessarily sitting well with you. You're like, I kind of want to change this up. This is probably a little bit too much. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this anymore. Maybe I need to figure out another place to live, or maybe I need to have some conversations with the people that are in my family scenario or situation, and now I want to figure out what I want to move forward and do, because this might not be working for me anymore, you know. I keep hearing, and I feel like a lot of Capricorn risings, you probably need a little bit of space, especially because you just came out of your Pluto cycle in Capricorn. So maybe if you haven't had like the time and space to yourself, you're probably going to be looking for more time and space to yourself at this time, so you can regroup from the Pluto going over your 1st house. So that's also something that can be coming up for you as well here too. Making room for new people, okay? So if there's some relationships that you've had to kind of, you know, your question at this time whether you should keep them or let them go. There's going to be a clearinghouse that's happening here for you specifically, like I said, in terms of like roots, family. There could even be stuff coming up about your home and roots and family and lineage and things like that that you weren't privy to or aware of before, or things that are conversations that are circling back that maybe you haven't talked about in a while. So yeah, communication, I'll say this, people are a little eggshelly right now, so you might want to wait. If you are going to have these conversations, I would say if it feels like you can actually have these conversations without things going completely off the rocker, then I'd say to do so. And if not, it's time to step. All right, it's time to like move around, step around, and do something different, because it's going to feel daunting, right, to have these kinds of conversations and things. Okay, so just keep that in mind moving forward, you know, when it comes to your the conversations that are going to be coming up during this time. So for Aquarius rising, you will be having the Mercury retrograde go through your 2nd house, and you will also be having the Mercury retrograde go through your 3rd house and your 2nd house. The 3rd house being the Gemini house of communication. This has to do with short distance travel, relatives. This has to do with your I just lost my train of thought. Oh, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins. The second house being your personal valuables, like physical valuables, but also just your overall value. And it's also your speaking voice as well, or the things that you're like ingesting, whether it's physically ingesting or mentally ingesting here too. So this, and then Mercury, the energy of Mercury rules over, which is by Gemini and Virgo. Those houses are your 5th and your 8th house. I would say that you're probably going to feel a little less social at this time. You might feel a little bit more inward. If you've been giving a little bit too much time and energy away to other people, you might recoil a little bit at this time and be like, I kind of don't want to really talk. I'm not really trying to, talk too much. I ain't trying to really be in a mix. You feel me? Like I'm going to kind of take some time, inward by yourself. Creatively expressing yourself as well too here, getting back to maybe like a creative endeavor that maybe you put off into the side here. I'm sorry, my foot is on my feet. Also too, if they're the 8th house, and I say this because the 8th house is things that are hidden, so you might feel like internally you're going through a lot of shifts, and so this is why I say you might feel a little bit more like, I just kind of want to go in. I would say while you are having this time to kind of go a little bit more inward instead of like kind of giving your energy outwardly, if you could put the pen to the paper, and if you ain't really about that pen and paper, maybe you are making voice memos or expressing yourself on a camera or something like that. So you could definitely see that here, and just wanting to recoil just a little bit. I feel like a spider in the crevices of the home, and just kind of like making your web on your own at this moment in time. So if you do need that time to recharge your social battery and just your own personal battery at this time, Aquarius, definitely do so. If you need to leave that phone on D&D, okay, do not disturb, then please go ahead and make sure you do that as well too, okay? And that's what I have for you. So for Pisces rising, we have the Mercury retrograde going through the 2nd house and also the 1st house. The 2nd house being your values, personal values, physical values, emotional values, as well as your like physical things that you own, and then like I said, the internal value of yourself. This also has to do with your speaking voice. Communication. 2nd house is the Taurus house of communication, and then the 1st house, when it retrogrades back, is going to be onto you. How are you expressing yourself in this lifetime? How do you want to venture out into the world? Who are you now? These are the questions that you're going to be asking yourself as we do have this Mercury retrograde transiting at this time. Mercury rules your 4th house, and it also rules your 7th house. So you could be thinking if you want to still stay. Also too, Mercury rules contractual agreements. So you could be figuring out if you want to stay, at the place that you're staying in, or if it is somewhere that you want to move to or somewhere you want to go. You could be also having some really important conversations with people that are close to you. And that is also in connection to your living situation as well here too. I would just say, if you can, and I'll say this to everybody, if you can hold off on making decisions, just wait until after the Mercury retrograde simmers down first before you're trying to jump ship and just be like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to give the Mercury retrograde some time to play out before you trying to like move around and make things happen and all that kind of stuff. Okay, just give yourself some time and space at this time. Don't make any like quick decisions before you like sat and really thought things out. 2nd house, definitely be careful, especially with Mercury retrograde. Be careful with spending or overspending at this time. You definitely want to create like a good budget of your finances. And also too, at this time, there could be some opportunities that are coming in, or different opportunities, or maybe a new direction that you're also going into too. Explore those directions. Explore like a new direction that is coming to you at this time. Like whatever it is that's coming up for you, that it is that you want to do, or something that you want to like really get into and explore, allow yourself to do those things, you know. And then just use this time as you're kind of going over like, okay, well, what do I want to do next? What are some of the things that I want to get into? Like use this time to use the magician tongue, if you will, that second house, to speak the things and speak over the things that you are wanting to bring into your life. When you start to get the downloads of what direction and what space that you want to go to, start really visualizing that and talking about it and putting it into the ethers, and just watch what happens at the time as well. Okay, so that is what I have for y'all. Like I said, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I love to hear y'all's comments down below. Like I said, we do have Neptune and Aries video dropping this week. Probably if it's not Friday, then it'll be dropping on Saturday. And then we'll have a webinar, a longer webinar about Neptune and Pisces, probably coming up shortly the week after, but I will let y'all know. I'll keep you posted. If you haven't subscribed to the Substack already to stay in contact, that's where I'll be posting like all my, you know, important announcements and things like that. Then make sure that you subscribe below. Okay. All right. I will be going live this Monday, and I'll probably be going live throughout the week. I'm doing a little something different. I'm being called to the front, you know, so if you're interested in coming through, you can definitely come through for that. We're just having conversation, you know, doing some live readings, things like that. And yeah, I will see y'all on the next one. You already know what it is. A rainy storm checking in, checking out, without a doubt. Deuces.